Okay, so it's it's 6 1/4 wide, and I'm going to say it's going to be 8 inches long by the time you put it together. Because
let me write that down.
Hi, everybody.
Good morning. 6 inches wide.
6 1/4 wide, and by the time you get it put together, it's going to be 8 inches long.
Okay, I will see if I've got a place for that in my future town of Aspen.
Okay. And like I say, it looks like it's all here, so I'd love to use it. I have room. So anyway, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
You caught the showtime caught us in the middle of a conversation. But anyway, welcome. Good to see everybody.
Poor Dennis is not feeling well this morning.
No, and I had all kinds of tech issues. I'm still a mystery. I guess that's just the way tech is sometimes.
Boy, you sure did.
He's tech challenged.
Yeah.
Oh, good morning, Bill. Bill's always the quiet one over here. He's the only one that's got it all together. The rest of us are just a pile of nothing, you know.
and since I'm on my computer instead of my iPad, which is what I normally do, I did not bring my charger for my computer, and I'm almost dead. So I'm going to have to go in and get my charging cable for my computer. I'll be right back.
Well, go do that, and we'll let Steve.
You better
call the run down here.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Oh, let's see if I can miss anybody. We got Schuylkill River Valley. Good morning, John Tanzillo, Rob T-Man, my buddy Bernard C., and my brother Brian Iron Horse. How are you doing? Our favorite pilot, John. How are you, buddy? Stephen Wigwag, John Grandpa Rails. Good morning. We got Roy Hardwick. How you doing? We got Mark Pruitt and Dwight Curley. And let's see, we got Mike, Deep Run Railroad. How you doing, Mike? Okay, let's see. I think that's it.
You get Dave, BNSF?
I didn't see Dave. Good morning, Dave.
He's here.
Okay.
Let's see.
Allison. I missed Allie. Good morning, Allie.
Lynn just popped in. Lynn McCurdy.
Okay.
Chuck's here.
Chuck. Yep. My buddy Chuck. How you doing, guy? Okay. Anyway, good morning.
Dwight's here.
Dwight.
Only missed a few, Steve.
Yeah, well, some of these guys don't come in until after he's read it too. So
everybody.
Yeah. If you want your name read on here, you got to get here on time. This is the only way you can come close to getting that. Anyway, good to see everybody this morning. And again, we don't have any kind of subject matter. I was giving Dennis some measurements on little engine house that I thought he might want on his layout, so he was going to check on that. But anyway, that's what we were talking about when we came in. And with that, anybody got something you want to talk about?
I want to hear about your trip to Japan.
Oh yeah. There we go.
Oh yeah. So, geez, it's hard to believe we've been back already 2 weeks since we left on that. But I've got a video that's going to post like right after the show today, where I went to the Kato Hobby Center, which is their big hobby shop in Tokyo. So the trip was great, short. I think we were there a total of 9 days. Got into a hurricane that hit southern Japan while we were there, while we were in Osaka. But the hobby shop for Kato, that was one of the main things I wanted to do, and it was a huge hobby shop, 2 floors. They had layouts in it, and mostly Asian European trains and some American prototypes that they produced for. Just a tremendous variety. I think we were there about 2.5, 3 hours. We wandering around looking at the layouts they had running. I ended up buying a N-scale train, and it was a sort of what's used now as a Japanese excursion train. It was a steam train, and passenger car set that went with it. You know, in conversion of the money, it cost me about $170 to get, you know, the whole package deal, which here probably would have been like $250, $300, you know, that. But it was just phenomenal. You know, it had everything that they made, mostly on display, row after row after row of shelves of, you know, locomotives, cars. And one thing that I noticed there that they did a lot of is that they had a lot of engine shells so that you could buy multiple engine shells for your chassis so that you could swap out and make your engine a different line or a different style that would fit a particular chassis. So they had like a whole row of where you could buy the different locomotive paint schemes so that you didn't have to buy the whole locomotive, just, you know, the top that would fit over the power unit. So I found that to be really interesting. Then we rode a lot of trains from Tokyo all the way up to the north end of Japan. And then from there down to Osaka. We were going to go farther south. But as I said, we got into Osaka and Typhoon Lan hit. It was a Category 1 hurricane. And Osaka is a little bit in to the coast. So we got stuck in a hotel for a day, and the eye of the hurricane went over the top. You know, there was a lot of flooding, a little bit of tree damage, and some wind damage in the city. Not horrible, nothing like what hit Florida this past week. But where the hotel was, and our window overlooked the Osaka Railroad Terminal. So just track after track after track of passenger trains coming and going, locals, bullet trains, all sorts of cool stuff. I got a bunch of video of that in there. As we were in Japan, we went, saw some of the tourist stuff, and going to northern Japan, we took one of the bullet trains, not quite as fast as the bullet train that I took when I was in Spain. But it went through what I guess now is the second longest underground tunnel in the world. And it was something like 28 miles underground and under the ocean. It, at its deepest, it was, you know, I'm converting meters to feet here, so an approximation of about 600 plus feet below the surface of the ocean at its deepest as it was going under, a bay going into their northern islands, and clocked it from the time we hit tunnel portal to exit of tunnel portal, and then did some quick math on the old cell phone. And it looked like we were traveling underground at an average rate of about 100 miles per hour. So it took only about 12 minutes to get through the entire tunnel. It was just really cool stuff. And then a smaller trains up north, which is their more tourist area. Trains that you could, if you could open the window, you could reach out just a couple of inches and you touch trees that are on either side of the rails as you were heading. Did an excursion train up to a place called Lavender Farm, which is one of their tourist areas because of flowers that they grow. And it was an open car, kind of like what you would get on some of the Denver and Rio Grande excursion trains where you could sit there. Engineer was going like a bat out of heck, though. We were getting a pretty good breeze, which was nice on a hot day. So let's see, going underground. Yeah, Lynn, actually, I was thinking that. It's like, yeah, there's an earthquake. What are they going to do? There's no way you're going to just hop out of a train and there's going to be like a doorway where you can take a ladder up to the surface.
Well, it probably does like the BART system in San Francisco that goes under the bay. It probably just shuts down. If there's
it probably would. There'd be, and if it was a major earthquake, well, you know what? There's not a heck of a lot you're going to be able to do about it if you're underground. So yeah, I did think about that both ways, going and coming. Once we got into there, it was like, yeah, okay, because you could feel the pressure change in the tunnel. Your ears you could feel that, it was popping as you were getting higher pressure and lower pressure as you're going down and up.
You said 600 feet?
About 600 feet below the surface of the ocean. Yeah. And in there for 28 miles is like 30, 36, 37 kilometers underground total. So, and beautiful scenery. If you've got a Japan on your bucket list, you definitely want to go. We got what was called the JR Pass, which I guess is only for foreigners, for visitors. and it costs quite a bit. It's like 44,000 yen per ticket. But, exchange rate, it was about $300-400, but it gave you unlimited ability to ride any of the Japanese railroads. So outside of like local trains, commuter type trains, we were able to book ahead and get reserved seats in their reserved seat car. And just really, it was enjoyable. Just really fun riding. Got to see a lot of the country, a lot of mountains, obviously, a lot of farmland, see some of the old architecture. The people were friendly. Got to visit a lot of railway stations. Got to sample in Japan the vending machine life. Japan has just on almost every street corner vending machines that you can get, your Coca-Cola, and you can get your water and other local drinks. But also you can get hot food, you can get ice cream, you can buy electronics, you can buy snacks, anything you can imagine that can be at a vending machine. They've got vending machines for it. It was a great trip. I enjoyed it from the railroading aspect, and then the other touristy stuff that we did. Went to this is something the boy wanted to do. We went to what they call Pig Cafe. So literally what it is you pay and you go in for a half an hour or an hour, depending upon what you want to do. And you sit on the floor and they've got piglets that are in there that'll come and just kind of pile on your lap and, just kind of be there. You can pet them. They've got some food that you have to buy to eat.
Are they also on the menu?
What?
Are they also on the menu?
Well, I teased my boy about that later in the day when we did have some pork products. It's like, this is what happens when they get too big to sit on people's laps.
That Pig Cafe sounds like one of Steve's buses.
But it was pretty cool. They even had the piglets mostly potty trained. Each pig would have literally its own little like cat litter box with like an absorbent pad. And they were doing pretty good. There was like one pig that had a miss, but a little itty bitty pig had one near where we were sitting, and he went in there and he did a little squat and was looking at us and oink, oink. It was fun. And then went into another place where they've got like I would call them semi-wild deer, place called Nara, and you can feed the deer. And there's hundreds of deer. And one of the deer that came up to me, a male, had beautiful rack of antlers on it. They're not real big, but it's like I asked just for the giggles factor, hey, you want a cookie? And I held it up, and the deer kind of bowed. And then I gave him the cookie, and then it's like, you want another one? And the deer bowed and took it again. So they'd been trained, even to be polite, to kind of bow if they get some food.
Yeah.
So all in all, it was a good trip. Like I said, the video that I've got coming out today shows the hobby shop and my purchase from it, and then I'm going to put another one out that's next week. That's quite a bit longer, and that's just footage from riding the rails all over Japan. No rhyme or reason, but you get to see a lot of what I saw. The different trains, different scenery, different tracks, and even have in that one a prototype transition rail from like how we've got it, where you can go from code 100 to 83 or 83 to 70. I saw the prototype version of a transition rail, and I got a good snippet of that in the video as well. So it was fun. It was a good trip.
Pretty cool. Yeah. When you go to a foreign country like that, especially that far away, like the first time we went to the Mediterranean, we took some expensive excursions because we thought we may never get back over here. Yep. So you better do it while you're there, or you might not get back. And I'm glad we did, because they were all fantastic trips. Yeah. Cost us a lot of money, but it was almost a bucket list kind of thing. Yeah. And it was definitely worth it in the end.
Yeah. And we've talked already that, if we go back, and there's enthusiasm on all parties to go back to Japan at some point in time, we would do it a bit different. The itinerary was heavily packed, let's put it this way. And if we didn't have the hurricane, we would not have had a day of rest. So it's like go back to one area, spend 4 or 5, maybe 6 days in one area like Tokyo, then do a trip to another area and then spend the rest of the time in that area rather than going from Tokyo all the way to the north of the country, back to Tokyo, going south. And if it hadn't been for the hurricane, we would have went down even past Hiroshima, and that area to go to a different city. So it's like a little bit too much to pack into that number of days, but it was fun. It was worth it.
Yeah. Well, and then you've got the long flight back, and that's not really restful.
No, it's not. And, for us, it was from Tokyo to Dallas, and that was like a 12 to 13 hour flight. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bumpy, which was nice. And then from Dallas to Virginia, add another 2.5 hours after, 3-hour layover. Yeah, it was a long day to get back and a long day to get there. But it was fun.
Now, curious, how about the language difference? Did you have an issue communicating, or did somebody speak Japanese?
The missus had been practicing Japanese for 6 months, so she was able to say enough. And the boy picked it up like fast. He was able to listen, and he got it. And he was able to talk a little bit. Me, wow. Not a word. But they had just about everything had English on it. So, obviously Japanese, but then usually there would be smaller letters, the English of what it was. So train tickets, places you could go. And of course they hit McDonald's in Tokyo. And you go into their menu and it gives you the language option. Of course, English is on there. The railway station, if you're buying tickets from the little kiosks, which we had to do for local commuter trains. And, again, press a button and you've got the English. So it wasn't hard. And then vending machines were mostly in, Japanese, but you could see what the products were. So as long as they had Coke Zero, I was a happy camper. And, you get it. The biggest thing that was challenge was the money. And it wasn't so much that it was hard, but just conceptualizing. The yen to the dollar, excuse me, is, a lot of yen to like $1 US. So when you'd go and you'd get a currency exchange, it was not uncommon to get a 10,000 yen bill, to put in your wallet, or 1,000 yen bill. And when you'd go to vending machines, it would take the 1,000 yen bill, and you get maybe 700 or 800 yen back in coins. So, you just had to kind of grasp there was a difference there, because you'd be thinking, wow, this is either cheap or expensive. And then it's like, I got to pay that much. A taxi was like 14,000 yen, but you divided it out to dollar. And it's like, it was a bargain to go as far as we did from an airport to a hotel. It's just took a little while to get used to.
Euros were the same way for us. And, but after you're there for a week or so, you start kind of picking up what it actually is and how much it actually costs. But when you first get there, you had to be careful, especially with euros, because they're a lot closer to dollars. But because they were, at that time, this is several years ago, but it was almost twice what the US dollar was. So it was the other direction. And you had to be careful, because you'd see 10 euro and you think, oh, $10, not bad. It's more like $20.
It's like, so Tucker, I'm not going to get that.
Yeah, my wife did the same thing with Italian. She spent almost a year learning Italian, and she finally got to use it in a little pasta shop in Amalfi. And I know the guy could speak English, but she went in and did the whole transaction in Italian, and he's just grinning ear to ear the whole time. And I'm just standing back there listening and watching, But it was kind of fun to see her do that. And watch this guy's reaction, because they really do appreciate it if you try to speak their language. Yeah. They will. Most countries will really appreciate that. Bernard had a question. Did you indulge in any of that good sake?
No, Bernard, I did not. Really, the only thing that I drank besides coffee and a little bit of tea was a Coca-Cola and water. We didn't go to any place where they had it. At the hotels, we would have like breakfast at the hotel. Evening oftentimes was really like sandwiches from 7-Eleven or the local, or a place called Lawson, which is like a 7-Eleven. no gas, but you just go in and they'd have all kinds of, little products. Because we'd be so tired at the end of the day, we'd get back to the hotel and it's like, you want to go out to eat? No, let's grab some sandwiches, go and sleep.
Yeah, our Mediterranean cruise was like that. It wasn't really like a cruise that we'd taken in the Caribbean or someplace. It was all about where you were going, and you did so much in that day that you were there that when you get back to ship, all you can do is eat and go to bed.
Yeah,
we were just worn out. So it's a good thing we had the ship there that, we didn't have to get in something and travel too much other than back to the port. But yeah, it was very intensive as far as what you were doing each day.
Yep. You try to
see everything.
Yep. You put as much into each day as you possibly can. Yeah. And at the end of the vacation, you need some days to relax after the vacation to get caught up, because vacation, you actually work harder than when you work.
Most definitely. Wigwag says his niece, well, I didn't read the whole thing. His niece and her husband have been living in Japan for over 15 years. He teaches English there. There you go.
I can believe it there.
That's what my daughter wanted to do.
Most people actually in Japan,
a Japanese major for a little bit.
Yeah, you can see a lot of foreigners, Western folks in Japan, and most of the Japanese people that we encountered and talked with would at least know a little bit of English. So you could communicate that way for basics. But on YouTube, there's a lot of vloggers that are teaching English in Japan. They live there, they work there, they talk about it. It's a comfortable lifestyle. It's crowded. Like Tokyo had, I think, something like 37 million people that live in the metro area, and it's tightly packed. And in the video that'll come out next week, I've got a few snippets of some of the street intersections where it looks like, masses of ants crossing the road when the lights change. It's just phenomenal to see the number of people that are there. And the train station wasn't any better. It was polite. People didn't push or shove, but my goodness, was there a lot of folks on trains trying to get it in and around. It just blew my mind. I forgot how busy a busy city could be.
They're probably a lot nicer getting on and off the train, if that many people, than trying to get on and off the subway in New York, because that's.
Yeah. It was.
I remember that.
There would be set queue lines. They had everything really well marked out on the station platform for the different trains. They'd have platforms dedicated for certain trains. So they'd have everything marked out. This is where car 8 is and 9 is. This is where the door is. You stand here and then form the queue this direction. So it was laid out pretty well and very efficient. The trains were usually within 1 to 2 minutes of their arrival and depart time. So, there's no waiting around or messing around. When the train comes, people get off, you get on, and about the time you get settled in your seat, you're already starting to move.
Yeah.
They take a lot of pride in how they operate those bullet trains, and the operator, have you ever watched videos of them with their white gloves and their hats, and how they'll point to all the things so that they can remember it. That's how they scan things, and they're very, very professional.
They are. And the platform teams, same way. They've got it marked off, the idiot zone where you don't stand too close to the tracks. Mm-hmm. And when the trains are coming in, there'll be a team of people that'll go out, stand in there, uniforms, whistles, little batons to kind of point. And if anybody gets close, it's like, get out of the way. And then the teams of the cleaning crew would come in, and they would be stationed and ready to go into the train as soon as the train arrived to freshen it up. And, it was just really cool.
Roy wants to know if any of the city employees had to shove you in to get the car doors closed.
No, I've seen videos that, yes, that does happen. And it mostly on commuter trains for the locals, during the rush hours, which, like I said, rush hours are incredibly busy. No, none of the trains were that full. There was a bullet train from Osaka to Tokyo the day after the hurricane, which is the day that we were heading back to Tokyo, and we were at the train station. We had reserved seats on a train that was running about an hour and a half late because of the storm the day before. But there's another train, and they have, you can get tickets, and non-reserved seating is, first come, first serve, and the rest of you stand for the 3 hours it takes to get to Tokyo. That train almost needed people to shove, because there was people standing on the ends of, on the ends of the cars, because the rest of the car was full. But that's as full of a train as I saw while we were there. Even the commuter trains, we rode some commuter trains in around Tokyo and Osaka during busy hours, and they were full, but it wasn't, get the old plunger out and shove to kind of get people in.
I keep trying to get this one up. Steve is in there messing with it. Bernard says he'd like to see Japan, but not before he goes to see Steve Arnold.
You're so nice.
Bernard, you might want to contact me on that one. It'd be a lot easier to go see Steve. Trust me.
I'm not going there.
Steven says they have a train that hangs into the rail in Japan. I guess it would be a monorail style anyway.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. Now, I did see the monorail that goes from the Tokyo Herai International Airport into Tokyo Station. We opted to take a taxi when we were heading back out to fly home, simply because we had a bunch of luggage, and it's just easier to throw it in the back of a taxi, and it wasn't that much, but saw that particular monorail. So that's about the only train that I had of interest that I wanted to see and ride that we didn't ride, but just wasn't practical given the amount of luggage we had.
Oh, I had a question too about the hobby shop, and I think I know the answer already, but did they have any other product in there that wasn't theirs?
Yes. Yeah. And I can't remember it right off the top of my head. In fact, I was looking at my own video this morning before I posted, but they had some like HON3 stuff from another company that maybe is affiliated with them. They also had some Bachmann, some Thomas the Tank Engine stuff for the kiddos that was in there for display and for sale as well. Probably 90% of everything in there was Kato related. Again, I don't remember exactly how to pronounce it, but a little bit of some other brands, but not much.
I think you can pronounce it because I've heard so many.
So did I understand right? You went to Japan, went to either Kato or Kato, and didn't check up on the correct pronunciation of the word?
Nope.
That's an age-long question all of us have wanted to know.
I think it's Kato. I did look on Googled it after we got back, and it's like, how do you pronounce this? And and it's like Kato is the automated voice. So on my video, you're going to hear me pronouncing it both ways, Kato and then Kato. And I didn't hear anybody at the store actually say anything. And it's like I didn't know how to ask because everybody else in the family was off wandering doing something else when I bought my toys.
Your wife should know how to pronounce it. She's the one that studied the Japanese.
Yeah, I don't know if she knows how to pronounce it correctly, though.
Everyone can pronounce it. It's just a matter of whether or not they're
right.
doing it correctly or not.
Yeah, that's definitely. Heath wants to know if you enjoyed Tokyo Disneyland.
Did not go to Tokyo Disneyland.
Probably a smart idea.
Yeah, we had. It's again another one of those things that we had talked about. There was so many different options of things to go and do, but it's just there wasn't enough time, and everything was already packed in. Like I said, having the hurricane, it was bad. There was flooding, there was some damage. I don't think there's any injuries or deaths, thank goodness, in Japan from it. But it felt good to be in the hotel for a day and just nothing. There was no trains running either. They shut down all of the railroads. So, I could look out the window and the rain was lashing it, clouds, wind and whatnot. But, could see all the tracks, the trains all sitting on the tracks, waiting to start up again at midnight for the next day once they got the clearance to run. And then just sit and play video games, and kick back on the bed. I was a happy camper.
Yeah. Well, yeah, probably by that time you were ready for some rest.
It
And
was
if
late
you're
enough.
like me, you don't go like you do when you're 20.
No, it was late enough in the trip that I was ready to just have a day of kicking back and doing nothing.
Yeah. I don't see any other questions in here. Oh, excuse me.
Otto, but you guys never stop talking enough for me to say anything. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you. No, I think I like Otto better than Cato.
Yeah,
Otto.
it flows better. Again, just don't know whether that's the real word or not.
Yeah, who knows? And I don't know if they may pronounce it both ways in Japan.
Yeah, maybe.
We don't know, because God knows we pronounce the same word here in the States 15 different ways. So
yeah,
they're probably doing the same thing there.
Different regional dialects. It's quite possible.
Heath wants to know. Oh, that's not it. Heath wants to know when you're going to build a Z-scale or NN3 layout.
Z-scale maybe in the future. NN3 never.
You did a little small one for like a little miniature ride-on steam train.
See, we've talked about that, and it would make sense to do something like that. Like we've talked, I've got a purchase of Z-scale flex track, a whole box of it that somebody was selling as N scale that I've got. But it brings up another topic, is that I'm going to have a gentleman stopping over this afternoon who reached out to me last week. He's from Richmond, but he's asked if I was interested in building for him an N scale layout to kind of contract out. He's got a plan and everything, but he's looking for somebody to help build. So that might actually turn out to be my next project. If everything goes well, I might be building his little N scale portable layout for him in conjunction with him. He sent me the track plan, looked really cool. It's like a 30-inch by 60-inch, if I'm remembering right. So something I could actually fit in my garage the way it sits right now and build. But, that could be what my next build project is. I'm still getting lumber and materials to get set up to start doing the next piece for the HO scale. But, that's something different. That kind of intrigued me when he reached out. The track plan looked pretty cool for a little N scale. So that's probably going to be the next build.
Well, Daniel says he heard Kato pronounce it Kato. So I always thought that's what it was, but only because that sounded more Japanese to me than Kato.
Yeah.
But I don't speak the language, so I could never told you what it was.
Well, wasn't the Green Hornets driver named Kato?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
But it was spelled different, I
With
think,
the C, though, wasn't it?
It was.
What's that?
Yeah,
Or
I think
there
it's
was
spelled with
Y.
a C.
I think it was KYTO on his.
Yeah.
I think it's how his was spelled, if I remember. That's a long time ago. I don't watch Marvel stuff anymore. But anyway, yeah, that always sounded more Japanese to me, was Kato than Kato. But there you go. Alex says Shannon's doing NN3. Heath, yeah, that's true. He is doing an NN3. He actually built a NN3 steam locomotive from a kit. That's pretty impressive.
Did you see
He's
Heath's
young enough,
comment?
he can see that stuff. What, Dennis?
He's trying to pick fights in chat.
No kidding.
We're going to have to put him in timeout.
There you go, Bernard. It's all the same, isn't it? Yeah, let's not get into the English language stuff, because we'll be in trouble. I still cringe when I hear somebody do grammar wrong. We were taught so much, correct grammar, and then you hear somebody say it like "them guys" or something like that, and it's just like, oh man, no. But
I had a fourth grade teacher who she would teach grammar, and she was ancient even when I was in fourth grade, and she she was one of those that, if you did it wrong, she would wrap your knuckles with a ruler. Still in that day, they could get away with it, and she would do it. You deserved it, but you always cringed to make sure that you try to get the right answer, because otherwise,
Oh yeah, well, I can remember sitting and writing sentences, kind of like you'd have to do on the board if you were in trouble, having, I will not do this, it. And I even remember doing sentences that way until you got it right and you knew how to say it.
Yeah.
And I hear people talk now, and young people, and that's what's scary. I hear the young people talk like that. And it's like, oh my goodness, that's not even close. Or I hear a show host on something, TV show say something like that. And it's like, oh no, that's horrible, horrible grammar. But there it is. It's gotten to be more acceptable. So I guess that's where it's going.
Yeah. And have the kids now try to read cursive. It's like, because they don't teach cursive.
Yeah.
Recursive or read an analog clock.
Yeah.
The phrase "going to" apparently now has changed to one single word, which is "gone."
Yeah.
I'm gonna get.
Well, a lot of our stuff, a lot of the words in the younger people, and of course my grandkids are staying with us for this last week, but they're seniors in high school, and they talk like they're texting. It's not vacation anymore. That takes too long to say vacation. It's vacay. My wife even says vacay now. So it just, no, it's vacation. If you get that lazy that you can't say a couple of syllables, then I don't want to talk to you. It makes me crazy. But that's from coming up with teachers like Bill had, I don't remember her smacking us, but we had to do extra work if you didn't do it right. That's for sure.
I remember the paddles on the wall over the principal's desk.
Oh yeah.
You had
Those have gone away, haven't they?
Yeah, you had the small one.
Yeah, they need to bring those back, I think.
Yeah.
That's what they need to do. Anyway.
I agree.
I don't know how much time we got left here. Oh, heck, we got a lot of time left. We got almost 20.
We got
20 minutes.
We haven't talked about any modeling yet.
Well, we did it a little bit first.
Yeah, I guess we did a little bit.
Yeah. I'm waiting on. I haven't done anything on mine. I built a couple of just number 6 turnouts, but I'm waiting on getting that freeway because that's really the hub of my yard. Getting that started and getting the Y. That's the first part I've got to get put in. So until Dennis gets up here with that stuff, I won't be going very much further with that. But
I started building another
right
freeway last night. So
say again.
So I started building another 3-way last night. So
Okay.
It's going to be my evening project over the weekend.
I need at least one 3-way, and then I need at least 2 Ys off of that. So I do need that jig because I don't dare try to build that over paper. It would not go well.
I was just going to say hello to Delaware Train Products. Welcome to the show. You're new.
Nice.
Yeah. Welcome. I didn't see him come in.
I did, but I couldn't get in.
Oh, there he is.
Steve, you need to have that air horn. Just quack.
Yeah.
He needs to.
Raise
Point of order.
I'm used to
it. Yeah. Or do like Sister Mary Elephant, Shut up. No, you just need to, when you see something, want to say something, get your face in there, man.
I try.
You're too meek. That's the problem.
I know. Too nice. I have to be. I can't be mean to little kids anymore. I have to be nice. So.
Okay. Well. Anyway, yeah. I haven't done any modeling. I've got to get in and build some stuff, but I kind of got started on doing the track plan, and I've got too much stuff in there now to hardly even sit down at my modeling desk. So I haven't done any more buildings. Not that I have very many left to do. I think I've got most of them. But that's why I haven't done anything. I don't know. Have you started anything else to build besides your trees? You've just been building trees?
Yeah, I've been building trees. I'll just spin this around here. I got another batch for the HO scale. See if I can bring this down a little bit.
Don't you ever get tired of making trees, Bill?
Not really. It's relaxing to make trees. So
How many?
this one like right here in HO scale is about a 55, 60 footer. So all of these are going to go onto the HO scale. I just finished those up last night.
As usual, look great.
Yeah, they're thank you. They're fun and easy.
Whoa, hello. I fell off the table.
Well, I bumped it. It didn't fall, but that's funny. So they're relaxing for me. So this week at work, it's been hectic, and come out in the evening and spend an hour, maybe less, and do a batch, do a sequence of steps, and I get them. That should be enough to finish off replacing the store-bought trees that I've been pulling off the HO scale. So these are the store-bought ones. They look nice, but not nice enough. So that batch should take care of pretty much everything else that I've got on the HO scale that I want to pull off. Maybe have to make a few more, but then yeah. Yeah, it's not Diet Pepsi. But then I'm going to get started on other stuff. Like I said, I've got lumber for starting to build the shelves up here. We'll see what happens when the gentleman comes this afternoon on his layout. I wouldn't start that immediately. And I'm still doing little odds and ends before it gets cool enough to still go outside and take my tools out and do cutting to start doing construction, because I won't do it in the garage due to sawdust. And it's been in the 90s here pretty much every day, so still a little on the toasty side to go outside to do a whole heck of a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's been a little bit cooler here than it was the last month or so, but still warm. I mean, we were just below 90 yesterday, so it felt a lot cooler. When you get out of triple digits down lower than 90, it feels much better. But I'm sure we're not done with the heat here.
It finally cooled off here and was raining like heck last night, which is really good for the fires here. That's going to kill a lot of the fires.
Yeah,
so that was very well.
Well, Dennis, what have you been doing? You got any more buildings started yet?
I haven't started another, but I did finish the other one. Let me grab it real quick.
Because I've got the cold trestle to do, and maybe one other building, and then I'll be pretty much finished with all the buildings. Then I just go back and start finishing up and detailing everything. I still need to put in my conveyor, or the tram for off the one mine, but oh yeah, okay. You did a video on this one, didn't you?
It will come out this Thursday. So I posted this I didn't post it on my YouTube channel, but I think I did post it on Facebook in a few places. But
did you
all it's finished.
Yeah, it looks nice. Did you just end up adding a strip to the front deck like you were talking about?
Yes, that's exactly what I did.
Looks good. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You can see, just real simple. It's one of the advantages of plastic. And all in all, it turned out pretty good. I think, I don't know which one of these is. One of these legs is kind of cockeyed a little bit, but,
that makes it look more real.
Yeah, you could argue that.
I love the fact that the front paint scheme is cleaner than the sides and the back.
Yeah, I talk a little bit about that in the video, because that's kind of my whole concept, is that store owners, tried to keep the front of their buildings looking very presentable at the expense of the rest of the building, and then the whole backside of Celac Street will have a whole different feel than what Black Hawk Street will have.
Well, I wouldn't even have thought, even if I'd have thought about leaving the sides a little more weathered, I wouldn't have thought about not having any paint on the back, but I like that.
Yeah, I think, well, and of course, if you watch the video, you'll see there's one picture of this building and it's on this side, the paint clearly stops right there. And about the last half of the building, there's no paint whatsoever. Now, I could be viewing the picture wrong, and maybe the building was currently under construction, but I don't think so. I think it was a completed structure, and there was something going on in the dead space on this side of it, because that building hadn't been built yet, or they were maybe raising the building that was there to put up another one. It's kind of hard to know exactly what was going on there. Could have been a fire. And a little bit, it kind of almost looks like maybe, because that's what's hard to see, is if what I think is not paint could have been construction, because it's just really hard to tell. But that's how I took it, is that they stopped painting right here, which led me to go, this is very plausible to have no paint on the backside of the building, so that, you know, I can create a whole different atmosphere on Celac Street than what I've got in Black Hawk Street.
Well, it looks great.
And of course, this won't ever be seen. And I think, again, you know, I kind of discussed it a little bit in the video, but I should be able to see some of this if I do it right.
Well, that's the other thing too, why they wouldn't have painted the side as much or as often, is because they were so close together that nobody's going to see it anyway.
And I just lucked out in finding this. And you'll see the pictures in the video. It's pretty close to what they actually had there. I think the bovine that they had on their sign was bigger. And I think the building may have also been just a little bit bigger than this was. Either that, or maybe the windows were smaller. It's hard to know exactly what the sizes were of everything, but I think proportionally, that's probably the closest building I've come up with to accuracy to the prototype so far.
Well, changing subject just a little bit. Delaware Train Productions had a question. How many locomotives can you run on an HO layout on the same track with 16 bolts at 1,000 milliamps?
Sound or no sound?
Yeah, the sound's going to take more. I don't know. I'm not going to come anywhere close to testing that. So
that's a question for an electrical engineer.
Yeah. You could probably.
My understanding is that a sound locomotive HO scale is going to be about 1 amp, I think, per locomotive, if I remember right. So if you've got, you know, an 8 amp power pack, you should be able to run somewhere around 8 locomotives, if that sounds accurate, if they were all running at the same time and pulling 1 amp. That's why you have, you know,
and you don't have anything else pulling off that system.
Right.
You know, because some people will wire to their bus line for accessories and stuff.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons why I chose not to do that. All of my accessories are completely independent of the bus line.
Yeah. So.
And he's probably got the right of it right there.
Yeah, too many factors to make a determination. It depends on the layout. Do you have a lot of rise in elevation? They're gonna draw more when they're doing that.
Yeah. Age of locomotives, even, you know, old locomotives, old drives versus new engines, new drives.
See, Mark's got over 12 sound locos on his layout, and he's got a 5 amp system. So,
and have they all been operating at the same time, Mark? Or are some of them just sitting and purring?
Yeah, that would be the question too. If they're just sitting there running, yeah, they're drawing some, but I don't think they're drawing that full 1 amp for sure.
Not to change subject, we can continue on with that as well, because that's an interesting topic. I got this from Lynn. He went ahead and sent this to me, and I'm sure I will find a use for it somehow, some way.
That's a much better jig than that other one that we were talking about.
Yeah.
That we have.
Which, this is cool, but what's even cooler, I got a sticker.
Oh, look at you, man.
And a pin.
It's a score.
Yeah.
You scored. Yeah.
Major score. Thank you, Lynn. And
I
also, I think, I can't remember if I pointed it out, maybe when Bill was either in Spain or Japan, I can't remember. But I did get the little winch that Bill sent me. So thank you, Bill. If you weren't here
You're welcome. Yep.
when I mentioned it earlier that I got that. Thank you. So
Okay, well, let's see. Mark Pruitt says he's got 5 or 6 running at the same time. And then he was talking about his biggest concern being startup current for all those sound decoders. He must be getting close to the limit. Yeah, you probably are on 5 amps.
now, Mark, is all of that in the same power district? Are you talking about one power district, or do you have multiple power districts?
Yeah, see, I've got the power, the 8 amp. It'll do up to 8 amps power supply for Digitrax, and then I've got the command station and then a booster for the other power district. So mine's only separated into 2, but and then in my roundhouse, all those tracks have toggle switches, so I can turn them on and off. When they're sitting in the roundhouse, they don't have to be running. Don't have to be pulling any kind of power unless I want them to. But I don't know if he heard you. Oh, here it is. Okay, he was just typing. All one power district. The layout is set to separate into smaller districts as soon as the command station begins having trouble. Well, that's pretty good. Because he's got, if you haven't seen Mark's channel, he's got a pretty good sized layout.
Yes,
definitely on the size of Dennis's, close to that size, if not bigger.
I think his is bigger than mine. I think, truth be known. I think
And he's,
got a little
and he's
more.
full size HL. I mean, he's standard gauge HL. So, and that's going to be pulling pretty good. Let's see. Allie said something. Well, that would be per district if you have a booster for each district. If each district still goes to the same power pack, then the districts are pointless. Yeah, well, yeah, you're still pulling off the power pack. So as far as the power load, but I've got mine running on 5 amps, but it'll do 8. So I can boost it up to 8 if I want.
Yeah, I have.
I need to.
My plan is to have 3 power districts. So, and I'm pretty much at the point of my first power district. My second one will begin right here behind me when I actually put in, it's going to go on above the blue sky. And then the third power district is way over there, way in the future. If I don't.
Yeah, mine are separated. The bottom one's on the command station, the top one's on the booster. So that's how I've got mine separated, is top and bottom. Pretty simple. I try to keep it as simple as possible.
I don't think I've had more than, I'm sure I've had 3 locomotives running at the same time, which is pretty difficult. I mean, it's difficult for one person to run 2 locomotives and do it well. 3 is nearly impossible unless one's just, transversing and you don't even have to worry about it. But I haven't had any issues with mine either.
Well, that's what I've done with mine. I've got the 2 loops on either end of the standard gauge, and then they come through the main yard. And I can turn those on. They've got automatic turnouts on the loops. So I can run a standard gauge through there and just turn it on, let it run, and then go run narrow gauge. So that was always my plan, to do it that way.
Yeah, that's mine too. A reverse loop at each end. With a,
Yeah, I won't be running more than one train on the standard gauge at any one time. So even though I've got a staging yard for that, I won't be running but one train on it. So there you go, Steve.
With that.
Hank says, yeah, if you want your track to be as simple as possible, go unpowered and use live steam.
There's my butt.
Well, you can
Is that Ethan?
you could do one better. You could just do an abandoned line and not have to work.
There you go.
yeah.
Hey,
Is that Ethan?
he just passed his engineer certification for steam, so he's a fully qualified steam hoghead.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
Okay, so is that Ethan or is that Tim?
That's Tim.
Tim, okay. Well, either way, they're both steam heads like you.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's a lot more trouble when you're inside, running live steam indoors, especially if it's cold. By the way, Tim, while you're on here, and welcome to the channel, by the way, are the train that you run for the Oregon, I forgot what it's called, Oregon Coast?
Oregon Coast Scenic.
Is that coal-fired?
No.
Okay. Well,
I'll tell you, to have Tim as a guest on the show.
yeah, we got to get you up here. That'll work.
Yeah, especially one of these days when you're over there running, man. That would be awesome.
Oh yeah, like we'd be able to hear anything. If he's in the cab of a locomotive, and nobody's gonna be able to hear anything.
We don't have to hear. We could just watch.
Just watch. Yeah.
Yeah, just set up your GoPro.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the videos? I forget who does it, but one of those guys, it's either the Colorado historical place, I can't think of the name of it, I apologize, or Cumbers and Toltec, I can't remember which, but he takes you through the entire sequence of starting cold and bringing the locomotive up to full steam. Pretty cool. Interesting.
Yeah, there's a video on YouTube and shows the guy starting it from a cold start. I mean, setting the fire in it, how he gets it started. And I think they did that video in Durango, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, I was thinking it was a Cumbers and Toltec, but maybe it was.
It could be.
It's been a while since
I've
I've seen it.
I was thinking it was, at the time I watched it, I was thinking it was Durango.
Hey, there's Jerry. Hey, Jerry.
Same kind of engines. But, here we go. Are you thinking of Heiss at the Colorado?
It wasn't Heiss. It wasn't Heiss. I know that much for sure. I can't remember who it was.
I
But
don't think it was up there. It was either Durango or
Cumbers and Toltec.
Yeah, it was one of those two. But it is an interesting video because it shows him getting up early in the morning to get in there and get the fire started, and how long it takes it to get the coal going and get it all burning and stuff. And
start pulling the draft through, and
it's pretty interesting getting out and oil and everything and all that stuff. So it's pretty extensive work that you got to do to get one going.
it's too bad.
Oh, here we go. Jeff Barrier, I don't know that name. Has some older videos on starting a steam locomotive.
I mean, that could be who it is. The
one I saw, the guy who was doing the work was fairly young.
Yep, I agree.
He wasn't one of the older guys. It was one of the younger guys that could get up before dawn. But
and that could be the name. I can't recall a name at all.
Yeah. Well, Gerald Stewart said Durango made a startup bid, and that's probably the one I saw because I would have sworn it was Durango. But it was very interesting if you're at all interested in seeing that or knowing how it's working, go look for those videos because they're pretty cool. Well, guys, that's our hour, and glad everybody showed up today. Dennis, thank you for finally figuring it out. Bill,
I still haven't got your email,
watching your
Claude.
video now.
Yeah.
And Steve, thanks again, as always. And stay safe with those fires out there. Hopefully that rain really helps.
We're on the downside of the fires with the rain yesterday. That helped. That helped us.
Hopefully, yeah.
Absolute ton. And Tim, thanks for popping this morning, man. I need to call you and just say, hey, we need to shoot the shoot.
Yep. Yeah, we need to get Tim on here one day.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks everybody in chat. Y'all have a good weekend, rest of the weekend, and a good week, and we'll see you next weekend. Take care.
Good.
Yep.
Take care, all.